This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
And now, your daily dose of debate, breaking news, and uncensored views. This is the Michael Medved Show.
And another great day, another great week, in fact, in this greatest nation on God's green earth. A great day as we move closer and closer and closer to the glorious day of the 4th of July that is going to mark the 250th anniversary of our great republic. And we have now transcended Trump's birthday and the festivities associated with the president's birthday and Flag Day, which it was yesterday. But meanwhile, the Iran deal that everyone is talking about, the vice president, J.D. Vance, says it's already signed. And next week, J.D. Vance says they will release the full text of the agreement, which they haven't released yet to anybody. The United States, this according to the Dispatch, the United States and Iran agreed to an interim deal last night that would open the Strait of Hormuz, lift the U.S. naval blockade, and end the war. The Pakistani Prime Minister, Shehbaz Sharif, who has been helping to negotiate this agreement, first announced the deal, followed minutes later by President Donald Trump, taking time off from the mixed martial arts festival that he was hosting at the White House. We'll have more on that, of course. Meanwhile, the President Trump and other officials indicated that they plan to meet in Switzerland on Friday to sign the accord, contradicting what the vice president says, that the accord is already signed. After which, after they sign this document that is a memorandum of understanding, the negotiators will have 60 days to agree on the future of Tehran's nuclear program. In other words, this is a deal that everybody is celebrating, that President Trump is extremely proud of, but it is not a deal that deals with the main purpose of the war, which was to make sure that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. And the indication is that they will have 60 days after the signatures on this document to try to work out the future of Tehran's nuclear program. Iran said it would not begin implementation until then. Details of the agreement have not been made public, but the deal reportedly includes sanction relief for Iran and requires a permanent end to military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. Now, the only reason there is any kind of conflict going on with parts of Lebanon at all is because Hezbollah, which is a terrorist group headquartered in Lebanon, has been fighting virtually every day rockets and drones at Israeli civilians. And the Israelis, who are not at all happy with this agreement, have been answering back to Lebanon, despite the fact that the agreement pledges that they won't. The agreement also requires a permanent end to military operations on all fronts, including in Lebanon. The Israeli defense minister, who doesn't try to call himself the minister of war, but the Israeli defense minister, Israel Katz, said this morning that Israel does not plan to withdraw from Lebanon, the site of renewed fighting between Israel and Hezbollah on Sunday. Iranian state media said Iran and Oman would regulate traffic together through the Strait of Hormuz, and claimed that Tehran would be permitted to impose maritime fees. In other words, they would be able to charge any ships that are transporting oil or anything else through that part of the world. Trump told the New York Times yesterday that under the deal, the strait would be permanently toll-free, except the Iranians say no, they're going to be charging money for it. So President Trump also said he would restart strikes against Iranian targets if the two sides failed to reach a finalized nuclear deal. If they fail to reach a finalized nuclear deal, anybody believe that he would restart strikes? We have heard so of the deal. The deal resembles the JCPOA, the deal that Obama made, except it is more beneficial to the regime in Iran. And the regime in Iran, because we decapitated basically the old regime, is even worse than what we had before. They are more dominated by the public guards, the National Guards, who are so powerful in Iran. A National Review editorial, I think, focused a lot on what Americans are thinking. Any Americans who are thinking about this and have gotten over their euphoria about the Knicks winning the championship. National Review editorial said the only way to clarify what is going on is to just release the text that was agreed to. Trump launched this war in the wee hours of the morning without getting approval from Congress or making a case to the American people. Now he or Vance is trying to end it by signing on to an executive agreement that commits the U.S. to certain provisions without revealing what they are. If what is being reported about the agreement is fake news, then the administration should release the full Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU, and let the American people debate what is in it. They are debating what is in it in Israel. The Washington Post is reporting that the Israeli opinion appears to be this is a catastrophe. It is a bad deal. Those are phrases that are being used. An agreement that throws a, quote, lifeline to the murderous regime in Tehran. Among Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's supporters and critics alike in the press and on social media, the mood was clear as Israelis woke up Monday, today, to news of a peace agreement between the United States and Iran. President Donald Trump's deal is not one that many in Israel like at all. Iran, they say, will remain a deadly threat. And deadly threat means basically the ability to commit genocide with nuclear weapons. The question now is whether Trump's deal is one that the Israelis will stomach or one that Netanyahu will seek to derail. Netanyahu has an election coming up in October, by the way, even before our midterm election. Trump, in brief, expletive-punctuated interviews Sunday, already accused the Israeli leader of jeopardizing the accord. And more from the Washington Post, Trump sought to break Iran's regime. He settled for reopening the Hormuz. The emerging agreement ends a costly war but leaves Iran's leadership intact and its nuclear future still subject to negotiation. More on reactions to this deal, which could end the war, coming up on The Medved Show.
The 2-week pay period, invented in 1938 and still making us wait until daily pay, where everyone can access their money on demand. This is the future of pay. Learn more at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
And on the Michael Medved show, more from the Washington Post on the pending New Deal that is emerging between the United States and Iran. And yes, it is Iran that is dominated now by the IRGC, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. And the Islamic Revolutionary Guard is, if anything, worse than the prior regime. And it's really the same regime ideologically, a religiously extreme theocracy of the most brutal sort. And Trump sought to break Iran's regime. He settled for reopening Hormuz temporarily, because that's the latest from the Washington Post. The emerging agreement ends a costly war, but leaves Iran's leadership intact and its nuclear future still subject to negotiation. President Trump declared an end to his campaign against Iran's leaders with an exhortation on Sunday. Ships of the world, start your engines. Let the oil flow. Boy, that's almost as catchy as drill, baby, drill, right? With the Iranian regime still in place, Trump was celebrating a resumption of the way the world was on February 27th. That was a day before the United States and Israel attacked Iran and supposedly obliterated the Iranian Navy, their lingering nuclear capacity, their air force. Okay, they are in a stronger position now by any measure than they were on February 27th. So what have we achieved exactly in this 4 months of war? As of this morning, according to CBS, the full text of the U.S.-Iran memorandum deal has not been publicly released. Multiple news outlets report that a framework agreement or memorandum of understanding, MOU, has been reached and may already have been digitally signed. But the actual document has not been published for public review. And yesterday morning, the Vice President of the United States, the Honorable J.D. Vance, was on CBS Sunday morning. And the anchor asked him a question about the Iranians saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. The question, is that true or false? This is clip 18.
The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to, funded by the Gulf Coast Coalition, so long as they honor their end of the obligation. I think that one of the things you're going to see, Ed, and people have to be skeptical of this, is that the hardliners in the Iranian system will overemphasize the benefits that Iran gets while underemphasizing all the things that they have to concede and all the things they have to provide in order to get these benefits. So we absolutely are open to the Gulf Coast countries investing in the reconstruction of Iran, but only if Iran ends their nuclear program, ends their enriched stockpile of material, and is really open to an inspections and enforcement regime that gives the American people confidence they're never going to have a nuclear weapon. So I think the dance you're going to see, Ed, which is going to be interesting, is the Iranian media, especially the hardline media, they're going to talk a lot about what they get without talking about what they give. It's important for all of us to correct that record.
What they get is on the surface, and it's now. And what they give is uncertain. And because if you look at what we hear about this agreement so far, the giving is all in the direction of America and our allies, giving money, loss of sanctions, new prestige, new welcome to a more prominent place in the world. That is what the Iranians are getting. What they are giving is an agreement to talk about their nuclear future, but not to rule it out. They have never indicated. They say that, well, we've always had a fatwa against using nuclear weapons or even developing nuclear weapons. But no one in the world believes that, including the allies of Iran, frankly. In the CBS This Morning situation, Sunday morning, J.D. Vance was asked about the Iranians saying that they're going to get $24 billion in frozen funds if they hit certain benchmarks.
They say they're going to get $24 billion in frozen funds if they hit certain benchmarks. Is that true?
Well, again, Ed, we're open to a lot of things that are on the table, but that $24 billion just doesn't appear anywhere in any of the texts that we've talked about with the Iranians. What we have said is that we're willing to talk about unfreezing assets, but a much, much bigger deal is unsanctioning their economy so long as they make the long-term commitments on the nuclear program. So, again, one of the things these hardliner elements in their country are going to do is misrepresent the deal so that they can sell it to certain elements of their domestic audience. But I think, again, the text is very clear. There's nothing about $24 billion. What there is clarity about, though, Ed, is that Iran gives up their nuclear program for the long haul. They allow a real inspections regime. And then, of course, we want them to have a lot of benefits. The president has said we want them to be a successful country.
Right.
We want to turn over a new leaf with Iran, but that requires them to meet us in the middle.
And there has never been anything in the middle or moderate, never, about this regime in Iran. And the Israelis have had to live under the shadow of Iranian attack. Iran is a country of 90 million people, and they lost. No one knows exactly how many, but when they had their war against Iraq, they lost some people estimate over 1 million people in that struggle. So they are not averse to tremendous sacrifice and tremendous hatred. And on CBS, Gayle King asked Vice President Vance about the Israeli reaction to all of this. And we will get to his answer. There's also a statement that President Trump issued about his next priority, now that we had the unlimited fighting championship at the White House, which, by the way, didn't poll very well. What is the reaction of the American people to what just occurred? The Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, coinciding with Trump's 80th birthday. And what are Trump's plans for the 4th of July? We will be getting to that as well. And Mexico cashing in big time on another sporting event. That is, if you hold that UFC is a sporting event rather than simply a brutality display. We will get to that and more coming up on the Medved Show.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
And on the Michael Medved Show, so many questions about the as yet undisclosed details of the deal between America and Iran. That deal, which apparently was reached last night, at least according to the Trump administration, And Gayle King on CBS asked the Vice President of the United States, who is taking these calls and answering these questions while his boss, President Trump, is busy with the UFC, with the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Gayle King asked Vance, the vice president, about Israel's reaction to the prospective deal. This is clip 15.
It doesn't appear so at this time. What are you hearing? What are you thinking?
Well, Gail, of course, Israel's been a good partner, but we do expect everybody in the region. They've been participating in this peace agreement. They've been participating in our talks with Iran. They understand where our perspective is. And what the president has said is that we expect everybody to honor this agreement. There are always, Gail, these bumpy moments with these ceasefires. Sometimes someone will fire and sometimes somebody responds. We think right now that there are probably people within Iran, because the internet blackout, that are not even aware that this deal has happened. So we certainly expect the Israelis are going to be a participant in this peace process, but we think it's going to be good for them. It's going to be good for us. It's going to be good for the Gulf Coast Coalition. And Gail, if the Iranians comply with their end of the bargain, it's going to be good for Iran. It's going to totally change their relationship with the region in a way that will generate a lot of prosperity for their people. But again, only if they meet their end of the bargain.
And their end of the bargain that they have to meet, that even has not been disclosed as yet. Barak Ravid, who is a global affairs correspondent for Axios, answered some questions on CNN. He has had conversations with President Trump in the midst of these negotiations. And he tells a little bit on CNN about what Trump told him. This is clip 17.
That in two separate calls he also had yesterday with Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, he mentioned to them how difficult Netanyahu is and how he's taking steps that are creating problems to his effort to reach a deal with Iran. And one of the things Trump told me is that he thinks that Netanyahu has no effing judgment. He used the F word, I think, 3 times during our call in the context of what Netanyahu did when he ordered the strike in Beirut. And I think that Netanyahu heard directly from Trump later on that day when they spoke, and Trump made it clear to him that this needs to stop.
Okay, what needs to stop? He's certainly right about missile attacks by Hezbollah. It needs to stop. And if it stops, the Israelis have indicated as clearly as they possibly can. If the attacks from Hezbollah stop, the attacks on Hezbollah will stop. But trying to expect Israel in the midst of all of this to say to Hezbollah, with whom they've fought in 3 major confrontations over the years, okay, go ahead and fire at us. We'll shoot most of your missiles and your drones and the rest of it. We'll shoot them down. But don't worry, because we won't hit back at you. I don't think that's a position that Netanyahu or the Israelis or anyone would take seriously. Speaking of taking things seriously, there is Pete Hegseth, who was on Face the Nation on Sunday, yesterday. And Hegseth talked about sending troops home as a result of the pending Iran deal.
I would say the president's been most clear about is that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. Never. Full stop. And this deal, as we talk about aspects of the deal, some of which have come out publicly are totally wrong. It's performance-based. No money released to Iran until they perform. There's no trust and verify. There's no trust here, and we're going to verify everything. Nuclear material will be destroyed and removed. The nuclear program will be dismantled. The straits will be open, no tolling. This is not the JCPOA was a path to a bomb. What this deal will be a wall to a bomb. And that was the objective from the beginning, very clear from the beginning. So as far as our military posture, we'll maintain what we need to. The blockade has been a devastating success for us and impact on the Iranians. So think of this chain of events militarily, just for a second. You had 45 days of overwhelming combat, which Iran could not manage, and their Navy's gone, Air Force gone, air defenses. Then it led to a blockade, which was impenetrable now for a couple of months. And then you had the underground Project Freedom, which allowed now 125 million barrels of oil to transit the straits, showing that we control the straits.
Again, the idea that we already control the straits, what does that leave as the big U.S. accomplishment in this war? And Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of War, says on Face the Nation that they were willing at any moment to restart the bombing of Iran. Here is the Secretary of Defense, who likes to call himself the Secretary of War. Clip 13, Pete Hegseth.
If Iran does not want to comply, then they can deal with the War Department again, which we'd rather not have to do, and President Trump would rather not have to do. But they know the type of devastating effects that have occurred on their military and on their air defenses and on their capabilities. They don't want that again. And so when we restruck twice, don't discount how important it was that we were willing to show we will restart this and we will set you back even further. And that was part of the reason why Iran came to the table, and we're going to finish this initial MOU to set the clock. So that's the umbrella here. We'll work with you to remove that material, or you'll downblend that material, but you're not going to have any of that material. And anything you do get will be based on oversight and performance. And Iran understands that, and that's why I think ultimately this is something that can and will succeed.
Okay, let us hope that he is correct. Obviously, the stock market hopes that he is correct. Maybe even the people who help to determine the price of gasoline will get the message. But the idea of trusting Iran, particularly under the leadership of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, to people who expect Iran to behave in a rational and sensible way, I think you're a little bit more optimistic than is appropriate in this situation. There's more about the activity that preoccupied President Trump even more than getting this deal to end his war with Iran. Which is the unlimited and dramatic and epic-making fighting championship that occurred in what they call the claw. It actually looks more like the teeth of a shark when you look at the arena that was set up on the White House lawn. So who were the big winners on that? One of them wasn't Donald Trump, because the polling on it, well, it's not very good. Why not? What does Trump have planned for the 4th of July itself? We'll get to that and more coming up on the Medved Show.
This episode is brought to you by Redfin. You're listening to a podcast, which means you're probably multitasking, maybe even scrolling home listings on Redfin, saving homes without expecting to get them. But Redfin isn't just built for endless browsing. It's built to help you find and own a home. With agents who close twice as many deals, when you find the one, you've got a real shot at getting it. Get started at redfin.com. Own the dream.
And according to a new Reuters poll, few Americans, including only 1/3 of Republicans, approve of President Donald Trump's plan to hold mixed martial arts cage matches at the White House on Sunday to celebrate his birthday and U.S. history. That is what they found out in a Reuters Ipsos poll. Just 16% of Americans say they approve. 16%. It's less than 1 out of 5 say they approve of Trump holding UFC events at the White House. The UFC event coincides with Trump's 80th birthday. No, he did not compete. 1 in 5 Americans say they are mixed martial arts fans. So even among people who say they're fans of mixed martial arts, many did not approve of what went on. The 16% of Americans said it was appropriate for Trump to hold the Ultimate Fighting Championship event scheduled for his birthday, while 46% said it was inappropriate. And there were more people than were strongly in favor of it who were strongly opposed. And we were going to be welcoming to the show Bill Kristol, who just wrote and posted, the UFC event captures something about this moment in our history. After all, it's vulgar, it's violent, it's commercial, it's grandiose, it's tacky, and it dishonors a place once thought worthy of care and respect. In other words, it's Donald Trump. Is it really? We will be talking to Bill Kristol about his pieces recently, columns on bread and capitalism and Trump's orgy of destruction. But we'll get to that, because right now there's a different kind of orgy on tap. President Trump this morning posted the following on Truth Social. He said on July 4th at the Lincoln Memorial and Washington Monument in beautiful and safe Washington, D.C., we are going to host the most spectacular Trump rally, and Trump rally is all in capitals, of them all, a tribute to America, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. This huge in capital letters, celebration will honor our country's people, spirit, strength, resolve, and triumphs. With the backdrop of the Lincoln Memorial and surrounding the beautifully new reflecting pool, more than 300 members of our strong and talented military bands, orchestras, and ceremonial units will perform patriotic melodies and American classics and my playlist. Well, we all know what is playlist. Get ready for YMCA. And my playlist. We will have none of those people that put you to sleep and constantly complain. Okay? No people who constantly complain on the 4th of July. As we celebrate our country and rally into the next 250 years, this ensemble will be the largest formation of joint military music and ceremonial performances in history. There will be incredible flyovers and air shows featuring our top military pilots and equipment, and I will deliver keynote remarks that you will not want to miss. Well, it's a Trump rally after all. Of course he's going to deliver keynote remarks. To conclude the program and commemorate this historic occasion, I will be launching what will be the largest fireworks show in history, right here at our nation's capital. Do not miss it. See you on July 4th in Washington, D.C., President Donald J. Trump. Now, again, it makes it sound as if he's paying for all this stuff personally. He's going to launch the fireworks. He is, of course, going to be delivering these remarks, the keynote address that he, as he puts it. But really, is that going to take away the bad taste of some of what happened with the UFC festival? I mean, isn't a little bit of this trying to take over the 4th of July? And then again, there's the ongoing celebration of another very different kind of sporting event. Headline in the New York Daily News says 63 people arrested after jubilant Knicks fans celebrate finals win. Hundreds of frenzied Knicks fans skirmished with cops in a running pitch battle along 42nd Street early yesterday morning, hurling bottles at police and even trying to tip over a school bus after the Knicks captured the NBA championship Saturday night. In all, 63 people were arrested with charges including assault on a police officer, criminal possession of a weapon, criminal mischief, and disorderly conduct. The NYPD reported 4 people shot or stabbed and 10 police officers attacked, with one punched in the face and another hit with a glass bottle. One of the school buses, which was being used for World Cup transportation, was lit on fire and engulfed in flames, police said. Other buses and 5 police cars were also damaged, police said. Soon after the Knicks beat the Spurs in San Antonio in Game 5 of the NBA Finals, tens of thousands of people filled the streets of New York City, and rowdiest among them were clashing with police, smashing windshields, scaling scaffolding, light poles, and a statue. A statue of whom, we don't know. Climbing into and atop school buses in Times Square and trying to hitch a ride on a moving fire truck. Around 2 a.m., a 17-year-old was shot near 42nd Street and Broadway, police said. A bystander video captured the sound of at least 7 shots and showed people crouching and running for cover. Police took the victim to the hospital because an ambulance could not get through the crowds, police said. A gun was recovered and 3 people were taken into custody. Now, look, I am sure that there are many members of the world's largest and most formidable police department, the Police Department of New York City. And I am sure that there are many people in that group who have great love and great exaltation for the Knicks winning. But can you imagine how police officers must feel who are experiencing personal assault and damage? What does attacking police officers have to do with the Knicks victory? It should have nothing to do with it. The Knicks owner, whose name is James Dolan, spoke in San Antonio after the game, urging fans to stay calm. Well, they didn't stay calm. We need to tell everybody in New York that we know that they're celebrating. We want them to have a great time, said Dolan, interrupting guard Josh Hart's news conference. Please be safe. Don't get hurt. Don't hurt anybody else. The city will officially celebrate the Knicks on Thursday with a parade and City Hall ceremony. Will we also be celebrating the end of the war with final signatures on Friday? We will get to that and more. Bill Crystal joining us as a guest coming up in this greatest nation on God's green earth.
Hey guys, I found the only gift that Dad wants this Father's Day. Goldbelly. Goldbelly ships the most iconic foods from the best restaurants across the country straight to his door for free. Let him relax and enjoy award-winning barbecue from Texas, epic deep dish pizza from Chicago, or colossal pastrami sandwiches from New York. Make Dad feel like an absolute legend this Father's Day and go to goldbelly.com to get 20% off your first order with promo code DAD. That's goldbelly.com, code DAD.